They were a very lovely couple, although the husband, Jim, was much older than his wife, Katie. The couple got married only 3 months after they started dating. Katie was still too young and too hot to be someone's wife. She often showed off how romantic Jim was. Katie also added she couldn't reject Jim's proposal because of how much he loved her. However, people knew why Katie married Jim. It was because Jim was rich. Katie's friends all worried about their marriage. But they got married anyway and ignored their friends' useless worries. Jim promised Katie that he will still love her always. No one could break up this couple. But as their friends expected, they couldn't overcome the gap between each other's lifestyle. Jim realized this not long after their wedding day. Katie was young and still so attractive. She knew it and wanted to go out every night to flirt with young guys. She often ignored her marriage vows. For Katie, it was more important to keep her beauty than to keep promises. She was always busy shopping and changing her hairstyle. Because of her irresponsibility, she even had an affair. However, Jim seemed okay. Maybe he overcame it. He said he also fell in love with her because of her beautiful appearance and spontaneous personality. He was never disturbed by her complicated romance.
No, you get out.
Katie got sick of Jim's enormous patience. She thought Jim was okay with her lifestyle because he didn't care about her anymore. Katie decided to leave Jim. She claimed that married life was far different from what she had expected. And she finally showed her purpose of marrying Jim. However, Jim never agreed with Katie. Katie was upset for his rejection, but she had no other way. Because Jim was a perfect husband, he never caused a reason for divorce. So in this case, Jim didn't have to pay any alimony to Katie. Besides, Jim never wanted to divorce. It was always Katie's idea. One day, Katie asked Jim to go on a trip together. Did she finally give up? She said the trip would start a spark in their relationship again. Jim was suspicious with her sweet suggestion, but decided to go anyways. Whatever Katie wants. But Katie had a plan for a perfect divorce.
Eventually, I will leave Jim with tons of his money.
Poor Jim. He didn't know her plan. The first day of the trip started off great. They enjoyed the beautiful landscapes and spent a romantic time together. They spent a lot of time together. Jim loved it. But Katie started to carry out her plan. She knew what Jim hated.
Let's go shopping. I need luxury bags.
Jim followed her, paid for everything, and even carried all the shopping bags. Katie held a party every night. She invited everyone from the town. Just a little bit more, and Jim would lose control of his anger and finally spaz out. "I will sign the divorce papers."
Jim will want to leave me in the end.
Her secret plan was to make Jim want to leave her by himself. And he will have to pay a tremendous amount of alimony.
Then I'll be free.
However, Jim didn't do what she expected. Even he seemed to enjoy the parties and shopping. He smiled at Katie. Even when Katie put on a tiny little top, which only hid her breast, and danced with young guys. Jim just had a glass of tequila at the corner of the table. Finally, Katie decided to cross the line. Well, she found a young guy.
Jim will lose his patience soon. Are you just going to sit there and watch me? No. Throw your glass away and say, "Let's get divorced."
But Jim didn't care about Katie's affair. He focused on chatting with a bartender.
He's acting. He saw me with this guy.
Katie tried to move on to the next stage.
This will go way beyond your limit.
She decided to go out with the man.
Are you going to ignore this? Say that you want to get a divorce.
The young man held her hand to go out. But Jim just watched. Katie wondered why Jim didn't get upset at all. Jim just looked at her with a sober face. And that's when Katie felt ashamed of herself all of a sudden. Jim saw all of the mean things that Katie did.
Jim never got upset and waited for me to change. To change all the bad thoughts and actions. Jim just might be my true love. I was wrong. I will never find a guy like Jim.
Katie started to regret everything. She changed her last plan. Katie decided to switch this affair into a prank. She planned to pretend to go out with the young man and would go to the hotel room right away. And she would wait for Jim there.
I am sorry for everything, Jim. I love you.
Katie determined to live with Jim for the rest of their lives.
No matter what happens, I will be with you, Jim.
Katie left the bar with the man. As soon as she left, Jim called the bartender. You sure about the guy who just left? Yes, he's the one. His team is the most notorious in this town. Even the police can't arrest him. They drug young girls and get the insides. You know, organs. It's a huge business. No one can stop them. And if I call the police about it, I will be their next target. There's nothing I can do. Poor girls. Did you see the hot girl that just left with him? That's freaking scary.